August is National Make a Will Month, and if you haven't done it yet, you're not alone. Studies show nearly 2/3 of Americans don't have a will, even though it can save families time, money, and heartache.
It also ties into the broader field of elder law, which deals with the unique legal needs that come with aging. And joining us this evening to talk about it is Natalie Peroutka with Byrd LLC. Good evening, Natalie. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
So the first question that we wanted to ask you is really simple. What is elder law and what does it entail?
Well, elder law is a group of different law practices that has kind of developed over the years. You know, obviously it starts with estate planning, but as the needs became greater, you know, it includes things like Medicaid planning, Medicaid crisis or Medicaid pre-planning, different, you know, you get a financial advisor involved as well, and just kind of, it's a big area of law because it has lots of different little areas in there.
Absolutely. And out of all of those things that you mentioned, what should people prioritize first?
Well, I would say that the thing that most people end up needing and not having would be powers of attorney. Because people want to wait to have a power of attorney until they need it, and when you need it and you don't have it, it's too late. A power of attorney allows someone to make decisions for you when you can't make decisions for yourself. If you don't have one in place, then it becomes a more difficult task for someone to help you. They have to get a guardianship, and that takes time and more money. And powers of attorney are just so easy to do. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing it.
And then when it comes to a will, this is something that a lot of people, I guess, put on the back burner. It's something they really don't want to talk about. Talk about the importance of addressing this issue sooner rather than later.
Well, like anything else, the longer you wait, the more expensive and the more disastrous it could be if something that needs to be done. For an example that you could use is if you start hearing a noise in your car and you ignore it, by the time you get around to it, the problem is bigger and more expensive, and maybe even unsolvable. At that point. So waiting is the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then how often should someone actually update their will?
Well, it depends, and that's your typical lawyer question. I would say that you want to review your will every 5 years, and you can review it without an attorney because you've already got it. You can just review and see whether or not you've had any major life changes or whether or not it's still meeting your needs. Obviously, if there is a major life change, you definitely want to review it then, regardless of whether 5 years have elapsed. But as your children get older, maybe you don't need to list trustees to take care or guardians to take care of your children. So I would review your own will every 5 years, and obviously sit down with an attorney when you have a major life change to see if whether your will still fits your needs.
Mm-hmm. And then what would happen if someone was to pass away and there was not a will there?
Well, whether or not you know it or not, you do already have an estate plan, because the state of Maryland, and I'd probably say most states, have what's called intestacy statutes, where if you don't say what you want to have happen, there are laws in place. And those laws may work for some people, but if you've got a child that has special needs, and they can't inherit directly without interrupting or messing up with the benefits that they're getting from the government. You don't want them to inherit directly, so you'd want something set up so that they could have their money funneled in a different direction to help them out. So there are laws in place that will divvy up your money, and your assets, but you have to determine whether or not they're going to work for you, because they're very broad and generic.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have a perfect family, non-blended, so otherwise things are surprising.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest mistakes that people actually make when it comes to planning for the future under elder law?
Waiting, because the longer you wait, the more that can go wrong. Kind of what I was mentioning before, there's pre-planning and then there's crisis planning. So if you don't have your powers of attorney and you need a power of attorney, well, now you've got a crisis and somebody's got to get a guardianship. If you want to protect assets and you end up needing major medical care, it's kind of almost too late to do anything there. I mean, there are some strategies, but they get more expensive, they're harder to do, and it's just waiting is the worst thing to do.
And then beyond wills, what are some other tools that fall under the elder law?
Trusts are a big item. There are lots of different trusts out there. A trust is a tool. Some people come in and they say, I need a trust, and my first question is, why do you think you need a trust? Oftentimes it's because, a friend told me so, or my son told me that I need one. Other times in their conversation, we actually determine that a trust is something that they need. If you are trying to plan and protect assets from catastrophe, an irrevocable trust might be something that you want to look into. The best thing to do is to sit down with somebody and talk about what your needs are, what it is you want to accomplish, and then the professional will craft the plan that works best for you. There's no such thing as a cookie cutter. Kind of everybody's family situation, everybody's financial situation is just a little different. Yeah. So.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Ms. Peroutka. We really appreciate it.
Nice to be here. Thanks again.
So as we head into the rest of August, remember, making a will and understanding elder law go hand in hand.
It's about giving your loved ones the peace of mind and keeping your wishes protected.